Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Hope you guys can hear me okay. What I want to do is talk about the stock market and what's going on right now. And give me one second here. Okay, and I'm also testing out the live streams equipment or connection here in B1 Nation. So I have no idea how many of you are going to be able to come in here and see this. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and copy this link and send it out to you guys. So hey, Fatima, how are you? You're literally the first person who came in. I see Michael Lloyd. Good to see you. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out. Let me look in the chat here. Deborah Evans, how are you? Put something in the chat to let me know that you can see me and you can hear me okay. Because I'm learning how this setup goes with the platform. I want to sort of add this on to the community that we have every morning with Money in the Morning. And if you're not coming to Money in the Morning, you want to get a text notification, just text the word morning to the phone number 87948, and you can join us there. All right, and so I see Errol Cloud and Stephen Murchison, Abdul Rahman Mohammed, Ina Fisher, Stephen Polk. All right, so so thanks, Stephen. I appreciate that, and Michael, thank you so much. All right, so let me give you some insights in terms of what's going on with the market this week, some things you might want to think about. First off, I want to mention that that we're going into kind of a strange period right now where there are some technical analysts who are predicting that the market's going to struggle a little bit, and this can actually end up leading to a downturn. They're not predicting the downturn is going to last very long. They are simply saying that typically in the fall around this time you see a little bit of a dip, but they're actually predicting a strong stock market for the rest of the year, toward the end of the year. First off, there is the jobs data is really important. So the non-farm payroll numbers that are released in September, that's a big deal. If the job market stays strong, the Fed may not cut interest rates as fast as expected. Cutting interest rates leads to a boost in stock prices. So if you hear them talking about cutting rates, or you hear that they cut rates, you'll probably make some money from that. Money will go into your bank account if you measure that based on what your stock is worth. Also, there's a real risk of a correction in the market because valuations are a little bit lofty. But at the same time, an argument that people are making is that the productivity of the nation has just increased so much that these valuations might actually be okay. I'm not convinced of that, but it's interesting. There's also a risk of a government shutdown. So if they don't pass an appropriations bill, that can cause a shock to the market. I would argue that this shock to the market would be a buying opportunity because I believe they're not going to shut it down permanently. Also, there is some possibility that the AI tech rally could be slowing down, that money could be rotating out in a different direction. And Tesla has a Q3 delivery report coming up, which is a big deal. I'm a big investor in Tesla, so we'll see how that goes. If it dips, I'm going to buy more. I just want to say that right now. If it dips, I'm going to buy more. And I've also talked to you guys about Intel and what's been happening with that stock. And I mentioned that I consider that to be kind of like the Trump trade. I think that there is sort of a fix in terms of Intel's ability to do well in this economy. I think that there's certain companies just have an inside advantage. I think that they're insider trading and all this stuff that would normally be illegal, but when the president does it, you can't really stop it, and that's just what it is. Now, what do I think about BE Bloom Energy? I know Bloom Energy. I don't know UEC, and I don't have any information in front of me to look it up. Lamont, if you bring it to stock market class on Tuesday, I can look it up then. But Bloom Energy, yeah, I mean, it's an energy company. I think that there's potential there because there's going to be an energy shortage, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the energy shortage is big, and so any of you who own Oklo, you saw Oklo went up 1,300% during the time that we were talking about it. We started talking about it at $8 a share. It's up to about 138 or something like that, and so that's a big deal. Oh, uranium, yeah, I mean. I own a uranium ETF, URA, and I bought it because I was basically investing in the potential for this energy shortage and what AI was doing to it. And the uranium ETF has shot up a lot. I'm going to say 70-80%. So basically, the way I would look at investing is When you buy a stock, you're not really just buying a stock. Don't think of it as like you're buying like a casino chip. You're buying a company. You're buying a company, and if you buy a company, think about if you're buying a business. You want to make sure you're buying a good business. So if you are convinced that something good is happening in a certain industry or with a certain stock, or a certain, well, not certain stock, certain industry or with a certain organization, that should drive your investment, not um, not sort of like these trends and patterns and all this other stuff. I mean, some of that works, but really you're buying a company. So just don't forget that when you step in. Okay, so UEC is connected to Oklo. Okay, well then, I mean, Oklo's done really well, but remember Oklo could also crash. And one approach that I've sort of bought into, and I talked about that this morning in our Money in the Morning financial consciousness training. I was saying that I think the best way to approach the market is with cautious optimism. So cautious optimism means that I'm going to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So that might mean for every $1,000 I make in profit on my investments, I take 100 of that thousand and I put it toward protecting the portfolio. Put options. Maybe I diversify. I own shares in stocks that have been pretty boring this year, like McDonald's, and I own McDonald's mainly to defend the portfolio. Because you don't want to just run with the stocks that have just been killing it, because they can be really terrible next year. These stocks could all crash next year. A lot of them are running on highly inflated valuations, which can put your wealth in danger. So sometimes I put my money in stocks where you look at it and say, well, why do you hold on to that? It's doing terrible. Well, I do it because I know that if the environment shifts, this is the company that's going to protect my wealth. A Walmart will protect your wealth. What is it? ExxonMobil will protect your wealth. McDonald's will protect your wealth. And so the other thing too is this morning, I don't know if you all got this, but in this morning in class, I created a list of stocks that you can buy for, protective, just like you have protective hairstyles, you also have protective stocks. I'm switching my screen, so give me a yes if you can still see me and hear me, even as I switch my screen. I'm switching my screen because I want to grab this link and give it to you. So let me see here, and let me know if you were able to see it even when I switched the screen, because I'm learning about this interface. All right, so here is the list of my favorite bond funds, and that's in the chat. Tell me if you can click on that link. It should work, and that gives you a list of bond funds where you can invest in bonds by just buying shares of these assets. A lot of people think that to invest in bonds, you got to go buy a bond. You don't have to go buy a bond. You can just buy shares in a company that they buy the bonds for you. You don't have to, or like even investing in Africa or whatever. You don't have to go to Africa and meet somebody and and buy a property or start a restaurant. I mean, if you want to do it, that's fun. It's educational, but if I want to invest in Africa, I just buy into a mutual fund that's already invested in Africa, and then I'm getting exposure to Africa. Hey, Life or Death. Good to see you, man. That's a crazy name. I wonder what that means. But anyway, Stevens, thanks for using this platform. We can make this into our Black Facebook. Yeah, I really, this platform here, and I don't know how many of you came in. I just sent out a text to some of you that took the 5-year pledge just to see if this Zoom link would bring you in. Were you able to get in from that link? Let me know if you came in from that link, because I'm not really sure. The reason I don't use the platform a ton is because I'm trying to figure out the best way to use it. But there's 61,000 of you on here, and so I should probably come in a little bit more. So I said, okay, today's a Sunday, so I'm just gonna pray to God and pop in and see how that works. All right. So anyway, just speaking on other things going on in the market right now. I mentioned my faith in Intel. I just kind of like the Intel narrative, and I'm going to increase my investment in Intel. Most likely, I'm looking here to see sometimes if you don't have enough cash sitting around, you can't make all the moves you want to make right then. But if I have some money left over, I'm actually put a little more money in Intel, because I think that the Trump administration is going to make some announcement that's going to improve the price of Intel at some point. I wouldn't be surprised. And so far, the Intel investment I made, I think it's gone up by 40–50% or something like that, which is kind of great. So I made a few $1,000s off of that. Yeah, 46%. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, but wait, nah, I don't know. I kind of own a little bit too much of it, so I might actually not do that. You shouldn't put too much of your money in one place. I just want to say that. And also, if you want to know some other stocks I own, I have a big investment in Meta. I own some AMD as kind of an alternative to NVIDIA. I own some McDonald's, Warner Brothers. That's gone up 55% since I bought it. I bought Warner Brothers because I saw the Superman movie, and I believe that Warner Brothers is going to expand their little cinematic universe and try to compete with Marvel. So there we go. So that's that. Now, were you guys able to see when I switched screens? I don't know. I want to just figure out how this interface works and everything. So since we're all sitting here talking, something else that was on my mind was I was thinking about this thing. Did anybody see where this Trump guy went to a where he went to an HBCU and he wanted to have a debate and they told him to leave? Um, I didn't like that, honestly. I kind of felt like they did that deliberately just to get people to kind of act a certain way so they could say that we're intolerant people. I don't like that. I kind of think listening to other opinions is healthy for your brain. I think that the thing that I hate about America now is that everybody just has their truth and that's all they believe. And they only want to talk to people who agree with them, which makes you like, if you're wrong, you're going to be doubly wrong because you're doubling down on how wrong you are, and I just, it drives me crazy, because in academia, you are supposed to hear other perspectives. Your best friend might tell you, I don't agree with any of your theories on this particular topic, and here's why. And you listen, you just listen, and you don't say, well, I'm going to fight you, and I hate your mama now, and you're a scumbag, and you deserve to be put in a concentration camp. Like, I don't, like, people get like that. They get really angry, and I just think there's nothing that should offend you about somebody else's opinion. So I have friends on the right. I have friends on the left. I'm not right or left. I voted for Cornel West. I don't. I think Democrats and Republicans. I know too much. Let me just say that I know too much. I've dealt with politicians and stuff. One of the right wing guys, Robert Kennedy, wanted to come on my podcast, and I told him no. I said, because I don't think politicians are a solution for Black people. And then there was a time where I used to talk to the Obama administration, and I just was so disappointed. And after I had voted for Barack Obama, and I was very disappointed. I said, "You're not really helping Black people the way you said you would. This is a game for you." And I try to tell people that, and they think I'm just being a hater because it disrupts their fantasy. But honestly, it's like, no, all I can do is talk about the experience I had. And I think that politicians is a big old freaking lie. I think that I think politics is manipulative. The way it works, if you're a money guy, like I'm a money guy, I follow the money. That's it. Let me just take care of my family because that's the realest thing I can get. And then make sure I make good decisions. I'm take care of my health. Um, get some therapy. Go to the gym. Love my wife. Take care of my kids. Live a good life. Not break any laws. It's simple for me, right? And so here's what is interesting to me. If you really look at politics and you understand money, here's what the game is. It's very simple. So you have these rich people who want to make a bunch of money. And they say, how do we make money? Oh, that's right. We can keep screwing the American people like we have before. We can get certain people elected. They're going to do whatever we tell them, whether that means you're supposed to give billions to Ukraine. We'll get them to do that. If we tell them to give billions to our corporation, they're going to do that. And all we got to do to get them elected is we got to go play the game. Well, what is the game? Well, the game is that you got to find out what people are emotional about. You got to manipulate people emotionally. So if I'm a Democrat, then I got to go scream and holler about liberal issues, like whether it's gay, feminism, trans rights, or whatever, abortion, right? Whatever. Not that I care about these things. I'm just doing it to get you to vote for me. Because once you vote for me, I'm going to go right back in the back room and I'm going to give $1 billion contract to the person who got me elected. They gave me money specifically for marketing. Most of that money was a marketing budget. And the marketing budget means I was able to get in front of you and share a message with you that made you come out and vote for me. On the Republican side, same thing. The Republicans get all riled up over, whatever, immigration or all kinds of stuff. And then after they get elected, they turn right around and they're giving multi-billion-dollar contracts to people that they align with, the people that gave them money. They're sending billions to Israel and putting billions into certain manufacturing facilities. In fact, if you were to sit down and really calculate how much money Donald Trump has made since he became president, his family has made a ridiculous amount of money. Like his family's net worth has probably doubled or tripled during the time he's been president. And that's because they're making backroom deals. And this is what I'm tracking. This is why I told you to invest in companies like Intel. I didn't tell you to. I don't give investing advice. Give me a yes if we can understand. Everybody, give me a yes and acknowledge this is not investing advice. If you do that, that makes me feel better, so people won't think that I'm telling people what to do. My goal is to just tell you what I think, and so it helps you to figure out what you need to do. Okay. But anyway, I picked Intel because I said, oh, the Trump administration's investing in Intel. Well, they're going to make sure Intel's successful. Because for business to succeed, all they need is they need capital. They need good contractors, and they can implement the vision of the company. And they need customers. Capital and customers are a big part of it. Intel, they do need better contractors and better ideas and a better manufacturing process. But for the most part, if you give them capital and customers, they're good. So what happened when Trump jumped in and bought a piece of Intel? I said, okay. So it didn't surprise me when about 2 weeks later, they announced, guess what? NVIDIA's investing $5 billion into Intel. Of course they did. They're giving them capital. Well, why? Well, because they're trying to gain favor with the king. King Trump is basically saying, since you're kissing my ass, Jensen Huang, because you need me to send your chips or let you sell your chips in China, which we're not going to allow because it's a national security issue, unless you pay me enough to forget about that. I need you to invest in my buddy over here, Intel, because my family has an interest in making sure this company succeeds. So Jensen Huang, a guy who plays ball in a specific way, everything's quid pro quo. You got to understand, if you never understand quid pro quo, you never understand America. You definitely won't understand the way Trump operates. Trump operates as a guy who's like, if you're like, so do you support this idea? He's like, I might not. How much are you willing to pay for my support? If you notice, remember, he used to hate crypto. Does anybody remember that? There was a time where Trump would go out and say crypto was terrible and it's garbage and it's snake oil and it's a lie. And then suddenly he's Mr. Crypto. How did he become Mr. Crypto? They wrote him a freaking check. They wrote him a check. So now he's like, yeah, hooray for crypto. Everything's quid pro quo. So the quid pro quo that I saw, again, I'm not in these meetings. I don't know Jensen Huang or Donald Trump or anybody. But I said, oh, of course Jensen Huang is writing a check to Intel because he's trying to maintain favor with the Trump administration, so he can export his chips to China or whatever it is, or just be close to the president. So that boosts the stock price by a bunch. So all of you who owned Intel made money because of this transaction. And I told you all about it. We talked about it in broad daylight before it happened, right? Then there's Apple. The next big jump is the rumor that Intel is sitting down with Apple about doing business or getting an investment with Apple or a partnership. Well, who else is kissing Trump's butt right now? Tim Cook at Apple. Why? Well, because Trump's tariffs give him leverage to disrupt the profitability and manufacturing process of Apple. The tariffs, he could rip through Apple with those tariffs if he wanted to. And what Tim Cook is trying to do is say, okay, how do I be nice enough to this guy where he'll give me some kind of exemption so that I don't have to deal with these massive losses. So they'll give up 2 or 3 billion to save 20 billion. Do you understand? So this is what's going on. And then you can look at other examples. Look at what happened to Oracle. Oracle stock is overpriced, in my opinion. I would never, ever, ever pay that amount for it. Oracle stock went up 40% in a day. Larry Ellison made $100 billion. It is no coincidence that Larry Ellison is very close with the Trump administration. They are robbing the freaking piggy bank. And so if you want to know why I am not interested in getting involved in the weeds of political opinions, it's because I look at it as a corrupt system where they are screwing the American people at an epic level. And if you don't get involved with what's going on, with where the money's flowing, you're going to be sitting out here just screaming and hollering like everybody else, making no progress in the meaningful areas of your life. And I hope it's okay if I share that. I know some people don't like it. They just get really mad. But I need you to respect me and just know that even though I don't know everything. Hold on. Sheesh. My wife is calling me. I don't know why she's calling me. I got to. Hold on. Okay, let me tell her I'm live. I'll call you right back. Okay. All right. Yeah, so my wife tried to call me just now. That's what that noise was. All right. So one last thing I want to mention, something else. Oh, yeah. So here's another thing, too. I saw this thing where they were interviewing a black woman who made a bunch of money, and I don't remember her name. I think it was Ashley Fox. She seemed pretty smart. I hadn't really noticed her before, but she seems really good. And they were like, so you've looked in the bank accounts of billionaires and where do they put their money? And I loved her answer. Her answer was great. You know what she said? She said 80% of their money is put in the stock market, like ETFs and mutual funds and stuff like that. And 10% is cash, 10% is alternative investments. I said, I'll be damned. That was a beautiful answer from a beautiful woman. And I said, who is this amazing person? Because I should know her because she's kept it simple. It was super smart, and she was 100% correct. Here's what you need to understand. If you want to build wealth, how many of you want to build wealth? How many of you are interested in learning like wealth and how it works? Give me a yes. If you want to have money, I personally don't understand how you expect to be wealthy when you're not in the stock market. I don't get it. It's like saying I want to travel from New York to LA, but I don't have a car. Well, if you don't have a car, are you riding a bus? Are you taking the air? No, I'm not riding a bus. Okay, you got a plane ticket, right? No, 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 no plane ticket. Well, how are you gonna get there? How are you gonna get to LA? Oh, I'm gonna walk. You gotta walk? You don't have a bike? You don't have a motorcycle? You don't have anything? No, I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk to LA because somebody told me that if I walk hard fast enough, I can get there. Um, you're not gonna get there. You'll probably get tired or you'll die in Death Valley or something because you gotta walk through the desert and through the Rocky Mountains and like that's gonna be really hard for you. And so when you talk about wealth, and this is the last point I'll leave you with, because I'm really doing an experiment in here with this live. I haven't gone live on B1 Nation yet, but this is fun. I'm going to do it again. You got to be in the stock market. You got to be in there. That is where the money is located. That's it. Now, if you're looking for the oppression is probably at your job. So if you want to get oppressed, if you want to be oppressed, go get a job. If you're black, go work for white people. That'll give you the black experience. If you want to experience violence, go to the west side of Chicago. Black people die there every day. I love the west side of Chicago, but that's just a fact. If you want to experience consumerism and debt, massive debt, then go to the consumer side of the economy where you spend money on stuff and you max out the credit card and all that. But if you want to experience wealth, go to the stock market. Stock market is where the wealth lives. If you want to experience power, go to the space where the entrepreneurs live. Entrepreneurs start businesses and they become bosses and they control and own things. If you want to experience legacy and freedom, go where the real estate is. Own some real estate. And maybe become a landlord. Landlords have power and freedom. That's an interesting place to be. You got to go to that side of the economy. So if you think of the economy like a city, like in Tulsa, for example, you got North Tulsa, I think, where the struggle's real, and then you got South Tulsa, where you got fancy malls and people have lots of money. Chicago, you have the West Side, the South Side, and the North Side. The West and South, there's a little bit of struggle. South Side's a beautiful community, though. They've got beautiful people, but they have some issues there. North Side, everything's nice and fancy and amazing. Well, the same thing is true with the economy. You got the consumer side, the consumer, spender, borrower side of town, and then you've got the investor, owner, boss side of town, producer side of town. You want to stay on this other side of town. You want to stay on the side where the producers and the investors and the owners live, and that's gonna create a powerful reality for you. And unfortunately, on that other side, that worker side, that consumer side, etc., there's a whole lot of debt. There's a whole lot of financial illiteracy. There's a whole lot of political manipulation where a politician will see how desperate you are and feed you a fantasy, feed you a dream that somehow your condition's going to improve if you vote for this person or if you join this labor union or whatever. I mean, I'm not against any of that. I think unions are great for sure, but the game is so rigged against you. It is so designed for you. I mean, you literally, you're literally starting your life like there's a lot of people start their lives $200,000 in debt because they went to college and did what they were told was the right thing to do. If a wealthy man is telling me what to do to succeed in the economy, I'm not going to look at what he says. I'm going to look at what he does. Right? Like I want what you got. Like, okay, you're the boss. You're the rich guy. You've got the freedom. You got all these things I want. I want to learn exactly what you did. I don't want to do what you tell me to do because maybe what you're going to tell me is, hey, boy, I think you're great. I'm going to give you an opportunity to come work for me. Well, would you come work for you or would you want to be the boss of you? You probably would choose to be the boss because that's what you chose. So I look at what people do. I don't look at what they say because there are people that have an interest in telling you to do something very different from what they tell their own kids. You may not know that there are universities where I say this as a college professor. I taught at Syracuse for 12 years. I've also taught at the University of Kentucky, Ohio State, Indiana University, etc. I taught in China, Europe, Africa, all around the world. There are universities where everybody at the university is pretty much taught how to get a job, how to work for other people. But then there are universities where they don't even talk about getting jobs. They talk about how you manage people, how you control an institution, how you develop things. I think all of our children should be trained to control and develop things. I don't think they should be trained to serve others because it's very dangerous. It may be in 100 years we can do that, because then you can train some black people to go serve other black people who are going to have, their best interests in mind and treat them with respect and dignity. But it's very dangerous to have a society where millions of black people are trained to serve white people. I think that's really a dangerous place to be. And I think you see the evidence of that everywhere. So get in the stock market. That's where the money's at. So I'm going to get out of here. My wife called me, so I need to find out what she wants. She's at Costco today. She asked me to go to Costco, and I told her I can't go. I want to watch football. So thank you for your compliment about my shirt. I appreciate that. And thank you guys for joining and coming in. Okay, I'm going to try this again. We'll do this again if you guys like it. And also, we do Stock Market Tuesdays. If you want to join the Stock Market Club, there's literally 500 different trainings I've done on stock market stuff, everything you need to know, stocks. That I can make it simple. There's plenty of stuff you can do. So if you want to join us on Tuesday, do a free trial. Go to drboycestockmarket.com. That's drboycestockmarket.com. And also, if you want to get a copy of my book, it's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. We also have financial flashcards for kids, workbooks, etc. You can go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. So have a good day, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.